Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an impromptu mailbag episode. It's like a Spawncast mini episode where we are going to spotlight some of the good people over on the Spawncast network. They had questions, mailbag questions. We have answers. Well, actually, I want to discuss some of this stuff. And for that, I brought in RGT85.
Hello.
How you doing, Sean?
Doing good.
Sean is he's here even before the Knicks are playing. Like he's cutting it close, but he said, you know what? I got to be there for the network, the Spawncast network, the people dropping in the questions, supporting the show.
Make sure you keep it snappy, pal.
Got it. Well, we had some questions that were like Switch 2 related and stuff as well. And Celia usually has to do her big disclaimer when she's here, throw up the X and be like, it's not insider info or anything. So I figured, you know what, it'll be Sean and I who can, just speak a bit more freely and just talk about whatever with any Switch 2 stuff. So let me go here. I have the Spawncast network, patreon.com/Spawncast. There's a link down below where people submit different questions every week, mailbag. And we'll also have it for Game and Talk and Click R3, which are returning next week. So we'll have even more stuff happening then. But let me start with David, who asks, with the rumored camera attachment for Switch 2, do you think that streaming to Twitch or even recording long videos for YouTube will be possible? I know when your system is docked and attached to Ethernet, then you take it out of the dock, you lose internet until the Switch picks up your wireless signal. But streaming to Twitch, you can pause your stream. So it's a possible theory that when the Switch momentarily loses signal, it could pause your stream and go back when you get internet again. So do you think we are getting streaming direct from Switch 2? So YouTube or Twitch streaming, which, I mean, technically they have that with like the PlayStation or the Xbox, anything like that. We've had like Twitch or YouTube integration in the past. Is that something Nintendo would even consider doing with a camera attachment?
It seems that, I mean, maybe, but that seems like a potentially costly thing. I think they're trying to, especially with the initial launch of the system, they're obviously not trying to hit like a $500 price point with it. And little things like that tend to add up. It would be cool, but I also feel like, being able to stream has become, no pun intended, so streamlined now. Or record footage, is it worth potentially increasing the cost of the system on that?
What do you think the idea here is the attachment stuff? We saw the leaked images of the motherboard, and it definitely has the extra USB port on top, which if you have a Steam Deck or if you have like a ROG Ally or any of these other PC gaming handhelds, they have multiple USB ports, some on the bottom, some on top. It's like all over the place. But, I will say that one sticks out to me, even though it feels like it should fit in, just because it seems like something Nintendo would look at and be like, that's normal right now. What weird stuff can we do with it? A camera attachment would be kind of weird.
Yeah, and if it's not built into the system, if it is an additional thing, okay, that's different, because you could connect a million different things to a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally, connect hard drives to it. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that would make it a little different for sure.
It feels like that wrinkle that Nintendo would try to do. Like thinking about the HD Rumble, we had those advanced haptic feedback for a while, and Nintendo dubbed it HD Rumble, put it in the Joy-Cons. It was a big thing. And then we see PlayStation do that. Microsoft's apparently going to be doing that next generation with that Sebel controller that's still real. So I kind of wonder if that is one of the big things they're going to do. You could buy extra pieces, almost like you run your N64 kick. The expansion pack, not necessarily is going to speed up the system, but add more things that it can do. It could be storage, like you mentioned. It could be a camera accessory. It could be GPS. Who knows? Who knows what weird thing they're going to come up with?
Well, storage would make sense to a degree if you're talking about shit like Call of Duty coming and stuff like that.
Even if buying the game and inside there's an expansion for it, that's like expansion pack to make it play.
I mean, even if you look at that recent patent making a game a 60 gig down to 20 gig, okay. We're not talking about 60 gigs. We're talking about 130 gigs. Like, how much, compression can you actually do with that?
Right. That's the thing I'm keeping my eye on right now, is that top port. I mean, it could be as simple as, hey, if it's in tabletop mode, you can actually charge it now by plugging into the top. Because that was kind of annoying with the Switch. When you have it in tabletop, it's sitting on top of the port.
And how often did you use tabletop mode?
Not very often. I mean, I play it mostly docked. I mean, I do play it handheld sometimes. Like if something's on TV and there's a game that I really want to play on the Switch, there you go. It's easy enough. Or even before bed to play it that way. But I'd say 80% of the time it's docked. And that's just kind of it. Which even the dock apparently cuts off halfway up the screen. So now people are wondering what that's about. You know, there's a little wrinkle there where the dock is the screen's still in use somehow.
Right.
So there's a lot of questions around that. But yeah, camera attachment. I mean, hey, maybe YouTube makes their app just compatible. They could do it if the camera attachment's a thing and they just have the app set up on it. Twitch could do it too. And it's like, hey, it just searches for your camera. If it finds it, you can stream. Possible. Christian says, Happy New Year to everyone and to a year with less game flops and employee layoffs and more great and interesting games. That's the hope. We look after everything that happened with COVID and how the pandemic and all these companies were hiring up like crazy. Because you mentioned, Sean, how do these companies not know if we know? Like we look at it and we go, look, yes, your sales spiked right now, but it's going to go back down. They just still hired up like crazy. And it's people look at the graphs where they see the hiring go like wild and then they have layoffs, but the line still doesn't come back down below that number that they started out in like 2019, 2020. Right. So it's that correction kind of, which is really unfortunate because we're talking about thousands of people being laid off, but it is like that correction in the industry when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're at the end of that. Hopefully we can look towards greener pastures in 2025. Joe McKenna says, does the inclusion of Mercedes-Benz parts and cars in Mario Kart 8 mean that the game could eventually run into licensing issues? Sean is the Mercedes guy.
I drive a Ford Pinto. I mean, what are we talking about? That was DLC, correct? That was free DLC.
Yeah. I remember that was a while ago.
Yeah, you would just cut it out if you wanted to re-release the game or do a Mario Kart compilation or something like that. I feel like that would just be omitted from the game.
That was a really random collaboration, wasn't it? That wasn't just
truly was. It truly was.
That was just like out of left field. Because I remember back then it wasn't like we were on YouTube like that. But I remember looking at that going, what? Why? What is this? I guess they're like, hey, cars, Mercedes, money. Here you go. Let's see. This is from Zoob, who says, Happy New Year. 2024 was the year of indies dominating, the year of gacha launches, and the year of live service dumpster fires, the year of RPGs. And what will 2025 be?
I think it'll be good overall, but there is that quite a bit of mystery right now that for some people, can be a concern. For some people, it can be exciting. Like I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I hope it's a good year. I mean, honestly, the better the year is, the more money I make, pal. So, give me something to talk about instead of, what kind of 2024 transformed into.
I see it as the year of Nintendo wakes up. How about that?
Be careful. They'll come after you for saying that. 2024 was a great year.
Mario and Luigi. I saw you bring that up in your video. Were you getting beaten up over that?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look at the comments of that video. That was one I was just got to say what I say and move on.
I mean, I know people like the Echoes of Wisdom, sure. Mario and Luigi Brothers ship, MEO. But most of us watched that Game Awards and realized Nintendo didn't really come away with anything, right?
Yeah, I mean they lost their category. Like that, it was not a great year for them, and that's okay. It's not supposed to be. You are very deep into your system's life cycle, but when you constantly glaze it and you're like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. This was the best year ever. It's kind of like, well, okay. Like, at what point are you?
I wouldn't say that.
At what point are you a fan or a fanboy? Like, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of a company, but once you get into fanboy territory, then it kind of, murks your vision a bit.
I feel like it was expected to be a quieter year though, because we assume that a lot of their internal teams have moved on to the next generation, and that's where the big money's going right now for development.
But you also assumed, I think a lot of people assumed, I think both of us probably assumed to some degree, that they would show off the damn thing in 2024, and then that never happened.
That's true. That's true. I mean, you can look at 2024 and be like, yeah, it was an okay year for the Switch, and like that's it. Because then if 2024 is a great year, 2025 would have to be some like all timer then, because we're getting a new system and we're getting new games and like that are going to take advantage of it. Like it's hard for me to look at 2024 and then look at 2025 and be like, yeah, 2024 was a great year for Nintendo.
But people have their own perspective of things. It is what it is. But
that's true. I don't know. I didn't see like with Echoes of Wisdom and stuff. It's a quality game in the sense that it's not breaking, because they do some crazy stuff in that, but it is a game that didn't have the pull, obviously, the Tears of the Kingdom had, that. Yeah. So you go back to that year and look at that and go, okay, that's a better year. So
I mean, it wasn't a bad game, and if the inventory was handled better, I think it could have been even better. But the new Zelda game, it's still going to score well. It's still going to get people to buy it. They've built that lineage.
Mind Over Matter says, recently got a Steam Deck for Christmas. Any great indies or titles to suggest? Currently playing Tiny Terry's Turbo Trip after seeing Grub enjoy it so much. Huh. Any good indies on the Steam Deck to play?
Tiny.
What's the? I have to look. I tried playing Metal Slug Tactics and it just wasn't clicking with me.
Yeah, did you see the text size? Is it better on PC than it is on Xbox?
I feel kind of bad about it. The text size. I actually was playing on the ROG Ally X.
The text size on Xbox is atrocious. It is so small, or at least it was when I tried to play X, it.
Though. Okay. It's small in there. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I don't play enough personal computer stuff to really recommend anything. My recommendation would be go on Etsy or eBay, buy one of those preloaded retro SD cards like Batocera, and just have a blast. You'll have thousands of games upscaled that look and play beautifully.
Trying to think of, there's a game that I was playing. It's very similar to like your 2D Mega Man style game, but it was more about melee combat and stuff, and it was actually really cool. It's on I think it's on all platforms right now. I'm not sure what positive it is. I'm trying to remember what it was called though. That's gonna bug me because I played through it and it was awesome. I played it on the PS5, but it's also on like Steam and everywhere else. That's gonna bug me what that's called.
Don't look at me.
I'll have to look for that. Yeah, I know. I'm floundering on the spot here. I'll see what I can find here as we're going through a few of these as I look over Steam what that game was called. That's gonna bug me. Let me see. This is
Steam library.
Let me see. Oh, the Steam library. I have so many games in here. If I turn on my PS5 back here, I'd be able to find it in 2 seconds because I think it's on the main dash. Oh, man. I'll come back to that. This is from Medallion, who says, what are the chances Nintendo still decides to push the Switch 2 reveal until the very last minute, right up to the end of March, to show they won't be bullied into revealing something they are not ready to?
I think it's a somewhat realistic possibility.
You think they're going to go all the way to the end of March?
I don't think they give a fuck about these leaks. I don't care what Dr. Serkan Toto says.
He did say that, didn't he?
The leaks are an isolated thing of a dedicated fan base that we're talking about at maximum. It's hundreds of thousands of people, which to you and me seems like a lot. In the grand scheme of things, that's a drop in the bucket when your last system sold 143 million. They are a company that does things when they want to do things, and they will do things on their own time, on their own accord. And I think they've proven that time and time again.
Okay. Yeah, they have shown that. These like leaks keep escalating. So when originally it was just
you're not seeing any games. I think that's when they would be
That's
a little
true.
bit concerned. You don't know
That's true.
anything about the software. You don't know anything about how games look, how games play. How the previous library plays on it. You don't know the important stuff. You know some stuff that once again will appeal to a couple 100,000 people at most, but you're not talking games. If you were talking games and you had pictures of games and video of software and stuff like that, then you start to get worried. This, I just feel like, is just another it's just another isolated thing in the grand scheme of things.
The game that I was thinking of was called Gravity Circuit.
Oh yeah, I remember that game.
Yes, I enjoyed that quite a bit. It has that kind of retro, like 16-bit sort of look to it. I recommend it, especially if you're a Mega Man fan. It does more like melee combat instead, but it's really cool. It is. With the leaks though, it feels like now they're to the point where they have to either take an entire picture of the Joy-Con itself, the new one, because they showed a really cropped, zoomed in version of it, or have a video of the thing running, which seems like a terrible idea for whoever would be putting that info out there, because then once the system's on and running, Nintendo, they're probably not going to be happy about that one. But I have to imagine though, right now with this stuff, dude, it's from the factory. It seems. I mean, I assume Nintendo starts making some calls.
How are you going to find these people in these Chinese factories? They don't give a fuck.
They're doing a good job covering their tracks. I will say that.
There's no. China's a different world, man. China is a completely different world. That's how you get. That's why retro emulation is still as strong as it is. Salute to China and Winnie the Pooh over there.
It is with AI now though, you see the backgrounds being changed, you see things being blurred, and it is kind of getting to the point where it's as easy as just asking your phone to do it for you. So it's like it's a wild west out there that's being reinforced with technology now.
Nintendo's still using fax machines, sending faxes to China. What are you doing?
Hey, they're on their back foot immediately. This is from DC Fat Cat. Oh, by the way, I think when do you think they're gonna actually let's do it real quick. When do you think they're gonna reveal the Switch to? You take a guess.
Before March 31st, but I don't think it's coming out until fall.
Oh yeah, like coming out. No, I mean not like that, like releasing. But like when do they show the first trailer image
March.
of the thing? Something. March.
You got a game for January. You got a game for March.
Okay. I was kind of wondering if they would do it in January, like the month we're in now.
I mean, it would be nice. The sooner the better.
Well, I mean, yeah, it would definitely be nice. It would definitely be nice. But the reason I brought that up, and Nate also brought it up at one point, was because their investors briefing is the first week of February, and they typically have it. They would have like a direct in February anyway, so it is kind of like, hey, we can send a good message to investors, because they'll do that sometimes. They talked about like they announced the Zelda movie in their packet that they handed out to investors. I mean, hey, Zelda movie.
I mean, at the same time, it's like, you do it. The information is coming. Please understand. Like we have said that it will be before March. Please understand. And then you move on. You move on to the next person talking about the grass and the landscaping. And you've successfully.
Well, I kind of wonder if they're gonna turn in a report that's not exactly glowing of Switch sales, also, like after holiday time. So
of course, I mean, you did a price drop that probably would have alleviated that somewhat. But hey,
yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, again, February, so we're a month away from their investors meeting thing.
7:57, John. You gotta start moving.
DC Fat Cats says 2025 is going to be a bad year. Both 13 Sentinels and Fear are set to happen. Oh, the years that those take place. Yeah. I saw that people were talking about how Fear, the year that it's set in, is 2025, and we're in that year now. So.
Good. Bring it on. Bring on some cool supernatural shit and guns that can nail people to a wall. I'm all for it.
Sean's saying that from the basement. He doesn't have to leave.
Nah. I almost killed my grandma the other day by accident.
Yeah, what? You just heard people upstairs and like immediately went back to your teenage years and started screaming?
Yeah. I didn't know. I guess I left my door open because I was down here. I was editing and I had my headphones on and I just heard people talking. I was like, yo, there's someone in my house. Like, yeah.
Get the box cutter knife.
Yeah, the gold knife.
The gold knife. Gosh. Well, again, I want to give a shout out to the Spawncast Network over there for submitting some of these questions. I'll have another mailbag question spot up for next week, but also one for Game and Talk and Click R3. So if you head over there when I post those threads, you can drop some questions in there and they'll read them out on the show and discuss them. So for now, that's RGT85. Check them out. Is down below in the description. And we will be back next week. All different shows everywhere. And we'll see you guys then.
Toodles.